Ladies and gentlemen, here is the bottom line. I do not have Stockholm Syndrome. If somebody robs me, if somebody tries to oppress me, I don't grovel to them and beg them to abuse me more. I begin to 24/7 think of ways to defeat them. Think of ways to politically and economically, and if I'm defending myself, physically, stomp them into the ground. What is mass Stockholm Syndrome, and why am I talking about it? I've coined the term mass Stockholm Syndrome. And to know what mass Stockholm Syndrome is, you have to know what Stockholm Syndrome is. Stockholm Syndrome, or capture bonding, is a psychological phenomenon in which hostages express empathy and sympathy and have positive feelings towards their captors or abusers, sometimes to the point of defending them and sometimes the feeling of love. This was in Nazi Germany. They would battle against anyone who didn't try to orderly go into a pit and be shot in the head, and prisoners would jump and grab another man's leg if he tried to run out of the pit and say, no, we must honorably do it. They would thank the Nazis for killing them. Not me. Stockholm Syndrome, or capture bonding, is a psychological phenomenon in which hostages express empathy and sympathy and have positive feelings towards their captors or abusers, sometimes to the point of defending them, and sometimes the feeling of love for the captor shows. These feelings are generally considered irrational in light of the danger or risk endured by the victims, who essentially make a lack of abuse for their captors for an act of kindness. It's worse than that. If they abuse them, they will grovel and decide they're wrong. And what this is total cowardice, total weakness. They're so afraid, they decide that they're not in danger, and they decide to rationalize what's happening. And that's what's going on. Troops 10 years ago started to go public, and they had to kill Pat Tillman over it, and say, we're growing the opium and shipping it out. Oh my gosh, our government's a mafia. And it got so bad, they just had every channel in the West, from France to England to the United States and Canada, come out on CNN, CNBC, Fox News, BBC, and say, we grow the opium and load it on C-130s and fly it into America, but if we catch you with it, you're going to jail. Because if we don't sell it, Al-Qaeda will get it and make money off of it, when it's actually Al-Qaeda they're funding. And now a cop pulls you over and asks if you have drugs. You'll go, you know, the government brings most of them in. They go, yeah, I know. Still, I'm supposed to ask. Then they'll point to the camera, you know, in their glasses, or the microphone on their tie. Because they're slaves too. But that ends the discussion real quick. No, I don't use your products. Because the cop works for the government that runs the drugs too. He may not like it, but he works for them. Just like a German in a bomb factory worked for Hitler, even though he probably didn't like Hitler. And so, you know, we either wake up to this and call it, or it's all over. Because we're at that crossroads now. The tyranny's all out in the open. Okay, they're listening to everybody. Okay, we'll disappear whoever we want. Okay, there are some cancer viruses in the vaccines. Okay, sodium fluoride is a 7-fold increase in bone cancer, 20-point IQ reduction on average. Harvard study, over 1,000 others. By the way, the TSA, when I was going, Harvard study, 7-fold increase in bone cancer, fluoride. You know these things are giving you cancer right here. And the TSA is like, yeah, we know. It changed real fast, didn't it? Because they're under Stockholm Syndrome. And I'm like somebody breaking into the basement and going, come on, let's get out of here. Your kidnapper's away. But I'm scared of him. He'll get me if I try to leave. No. I've got a gun. I'll protect you. Let's get out of the basement. Help me unlock these other people in cages. They had a case in France, I remember about 14 years ago. It was in the Times of London. A few other papers, never saw it again, where this big globalist government castle they use for government events in Burgundy. People ought to go look this up. A bunch of women who weighed like, 80 pounds had been in cages, got loose, and they went and found dead women and more women in cages. No prosecutions. I mean, the government has dungeons with missing women in cages. Let's just get that straight. And then they show you their torture porn in movies like Hostel and Saw and all this, and you sit there and get off on it with them. You understand this is a gladiatorial event, just like the Romans would throw people to the lions, and you wouldn't care if it was your neighbor being thrown to the lions because you got to cheer about it. And then nobody cared about you when you got thrown to the lions. They know what they're doing. And it's come out all over Europe. It's come out in the Netherlands, and it's come out in Sweden, and it's come out where they find whole complexes with dead little kids and kids alive in boxes, and it turns out the government ministers are doing it, and no one gets in trouble. And it turns out the BBC covers up Savelle, you know, knowing he was doing this to all these kids, and then ordered the reporters, when it broke, to not even cover it. Supplying kids to the royal family, to the men. I mean, folks, that's who these people are. They're demons. They might as well be a vampire out of a movie. They don't really, you know, burn up at high noon. They don't really grow fangs, folks. We've already got fangs. You don't need to grow fangs. Humans are already like that on the dark side, the real dark side. The dark side isn't powerful. The dark side isn't sexy. People think they're going to get power from the dark side. You are not going to get power from the dark side. You will have power to fight the dark side if you're aware of it, but you've got to admit it. And I don't have mass Stockholm Syndrome because I am sane. And that's what it is when they come out. Pew Research, the article's up on Infowars.com. Majority views TSA, NSA phone tracking as acceptable anti-terror tactic. What they do is they take one little micron out of the Milky Way of info that Snowden put out and say, hey, do you mind if somebody's calling England or calling Europe? Do you mind if that's data mined so we can get an idea and track, you know, who's doing what if something happens later? I mean, is that okay? And people go, oh, well, it's to stop Al-Qaeda. But then you go, well, wait, the government runs Al-Qaeda. Well, wait, they're storing all your phone call audio. They're tracking everything you do. Google was set up by the CIA. Here's all the proof. Oh, well, I'm against that. See, it's how they propose it, and they do that so the sheep get on a bandwagon and go, well, everybody must support this. Everybody must be okay. I must be the weird one. Google, Facebook, Paltalk, YouTube, Skype, AOL, Apple, Microsoft, Yahoo, all of them in the PRISM program. The only group that reportedly said no was Twitter. Say no. Twitter is the worst. I've watched them for a while using revolutions. They are so hardcore, they want you to keep trusting them because they want to get you off email and onto their database. I still use it, but I mean, believe me, Twitter is involved as well. Now, the point is that this is one limited program he was aware of, and they're talking about hundreds of billions of phone calls. In fact, one headline I saw said trillions. The point is that they're building psychological algorithms. Remember like 6 years ago, she had the wardrobe malfunction, her breast popped out. One of the Jackson crew, Janet Jackson, and TiVo came out in the Chicago Tribune and said, we had 2.2 million rewinds and replays of that. And I've been telling you all about these DVRs and cable boxes being two-way forever. It was in the specs. Everybody went, well, how'd you know that? And there was a few articles. Well, they track what you watch. And folks, more than that, they got microphones now and cameras. They're watching you. They're listening to you. The CIA director bragged. Is he going to get arrested, Petraeus, for going public and saying, oh, we use all the appliances in your house through the smart meters and all the new video game consoles to watch everything you're doing? Oh, he just let out national security right there. But see, that was part of throwing it in your face, you see, basting you in it. But then a mid-level person comes out and says everything's being tracked. It's a giant grid. They're watching everyone. They're using it against political groups, and they're like, he must work for the Chi-Coms or the Ruskies, and now that's the only place he's got to run, so that'll become the self-fulfilling prophecy. And then it becomes a patriotic thing of, good, spy on everything I do. I'm patriotic. USA, USA. Maybe you can go chant USA as they load the opium on the aircraft to fly it around the world. Or in Eastern Europe when they grab little kids, you know, out of their backyards and then put them on C-130s for snuff films and stuff. Maybe you can watch the snuff films and chant USA, USA as they blow kids' brains all over the walls, huh? After potbelly pedophiles rape them. You want to chant USA to that? How about projected image of Anton LaVey, you know, at the Washington Monument? We can chant USA, USA. I mean, hell, here, run off this cliff. I'm chanting USA. I think people do it. Hey, you're not patriotic if you don't jump off that cliff. If you don't throw your kid in a wood chipper. It's Stockholm Syndrome. They are so afraid of admitting how much tyranny we're under, they want to just act friendly to it. Okay, I accept it. Take all my money. Watch everything I do. I love you. I think it's great. I think it's good. I think I'm safe. I think I'm part of the system. So they secretly arrest people. Oh, so they rape kids at Abu Ghraib in front of their parents. So they waterboard people. They're keeping us safe from Muslim extremists. Yeah, but they're running Al-Qaeda in Libya and Syria and founded them. Well, we have to do that to get the Arabs, you know, divide and conquer. Enemy of my enemy is my friend, blah, 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 blah. And everybody, like, plays at CIA agent, and, you know, people all kind of sycophantically get off on the fighter bombers and the jets and the armored vehicles and all of it. It's all for you. You go through customs and you're a citizen, they're going to talk you down. They're going to line you up. They're going to grab your genitals. They're going to get in your face. They're going to let you know. They're going to hammer you. They're going to come to your pro-life group and say, you can't go be anti-abortion in America. They're authoritarians. Many anthropologists and archaeologists believe that before man even discovered the power to harness and use fire, we were involved in agrarian activities. That is, taking the seeds of plants and then replanting them to produce more. The very foundation of our modern civilization and human culture is centered around the planting and cultivation of edible plants, fruits, vegetables, nuts, you name it. And the globalists have been going after gardening. They've been harassing people that have gardens in their front yards or their backyards. They've called for licenses for people to have gardens because you can't trust prisoners in the police state America to be able to grow their own food. That's why I've come to the realization that we need to become self-sufficient. You need to be informed. You need to have the Second Amendment to protect yourself. You need to be politically active to wake up others. You need to filter your water. But you also need to plant a garden. Even if you live in an apartment, you can do this. If you live in the countryside, obviously you can do it on a grand scale. There are so many green belts and areas that humans don't even visit, nearby cities and in suburbs, where people are now more and more planting their own little private gardens and meadows and off the side of the road. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a revolutionary act to unplug from the television, to unplug from the computer and all the globalist propaganda, and to go out in your backyard or your front yard or planters at your apartment or on the roof of the building where you live, and to plant a garden.
Here are some of the amazing deals at InfoWars Seed Center at InfoWarsShop.com. The Survival Seed Vault by My Patriot Supply features only the finest survival heirloom seeds for a robust and hardy garden, even in the toughest of times. The ARC All-in-One Seed Kit contains 70 varieties of 50,000 seeds of fruits, vegetables, medicinal, and culinary herbs. All ARC seeds are heirloom. Each type is labeled and sealed separately for ease of use and longevity. The Deluxe Emergency Seed Bank combines 3 of Emergency Seed Bank's top sellers: the Family Survival Emergency Seed Bank, the Medicinal Herb Seeds Pack, and the Culinary Herb Seeds Pack. We also have starter varieties of the deluxe seed packages for fruit, salad, salsa, peppers, and medicinal herbs and more. Go to the InfoWars Seed Center at InfoWarsShop.com.
A little seed can grow a huge tree that produces fruit for up to 50 years. We have the best life bombs. That's what these are. We have the best weapons against death out there at the lowest prices, waiting for you to lovingly plant them and lovingly grow them and lovingly eat them and share them with others. We will strike back against the New World Order, and this is only one more initiative in our fight against them. So please join us at InfoWarsShop.com, or you can link through at Infowars.com at the InfoWars Seed Center. And again, folks, if you don't know the First Amendment, you don't understand they have no right to be doing that. Just like it's a felony every time they illegally spy on you without a warrant. And then the media is helping play along that, oh, it's just broad FISA stuff. No, it's everything is recorded. Everything is spied on. And the answer is expose these people. We got the Obama supporters coming up. I want to hear them defend Obama, so we open the phones up just for them. 800-25-99231. Rob and Dan and Steve and Frank and Matt. Then we'll go to the rest of the general calls. Open the phones up after I take 5 or 6 calls from Obama supporters, hearing them defend all of this. So what is it when they put out a poll saying that the majority of Americans love being spied on without warrants? Well, it's part of fake polling. I don't believe those numbers. I've done my own polls on the street. A, they've gone to select audiences to create a bandwagon effect. But B, there are a lot of people who are saying they're okay with it because they're scared deep down and it's mass Stockholm Syndrome. So there's that issue. And then there's this incredibly cowardly thing happening where people then come out against Edward Snowden, who can't blow the whistle in a federal agency because then you get persecuted or prosecuted or killed. You've got more than 100 companies getting billions of dollars a year. Some companies are getting over $10 billion apiece, like the one he was working at, with all this spy data that then all these 800,000 contractors can get access to. And I've had some of these contractors on the show, big whistleblowers, just as big as this guy, on record and off record. We're digging back through them and getting them back on the show. And you can just dial into any system and do whatever you want with it. And that's been on the record as well. So what you have is them bringing this out now, but only covering a little bit of what Snowden's actually said, hoping the public thinks that it's then reasonable while calling him a traitor or claiming he's a foreign agent. Well, I don't think he works for the Chinese or the Russians, but what about the globalists? We're always talking about Chinese, Russians, Iranians. What about the mega foreign banks, the corporate criminals, that if the crony capitalists that run our country? What about the Agenda 21 globalists? They're the people that took us over. They're the ones buying billions of bullets against us and training the police were the enemy. How do you deal with this corporate takeover? They're the ones that set up this. They're the foreign takeover arm. They're the enemy. If the Russians try to do anything to my Bill of Rights or Constitution, I'll come out against them. They had one of their hosts come out and do some pro-New World Order stuff and criticize me. And I went after RT, and they came out and apologized a few days later. I'll go after anybody messes with my republic, your republic. I'm like a dog, folks, chained up on the front porch. If you ain't mama, you ain't daddy, and you ain't the kids, you ain't coming in. I will bite anybody that tries to make me their slave. I mean, you got that? And let me tell you who is sitting on top of me, punching me in the nose. I'm like a dog, a pit bull, chained down with a spindly-necked New World Order goblin sitting here torturing my family in front of me. My family is America. My family is humanity. And I am just sitting there straining in the chains, trying to wake everybody else up so we can deal with these people. They are criminal scum of the earth that are so evil there's no way to even describe a micron of their admitted crimes. This government, every time it gets kids behind closed doors, does lethal medical experiments on them. I mean, the people that run America want to kill innocent children. Of course they're evil. Are the Russians corrupt? Undoubtedly. That's the nature of big government. Are the Chi-Coms corrupt? Unbelievably. I hate the communist government. I despise them working with all the slime bag globalist pigs like Al Gore with the worst factories in the world for Apple. I salute the Chinese people, 7,000 plus riots on record a year against tyranny. Cops kill some innocent person there, they burn down a city. Hadn't got enough fluoride in their water. The Chinese government's on the verge of falling. Globalists are trying to prop them up by giving them all our jobs. I want China to be free and link up with us. And I want Russia to be free and link up and be sovereign nations working together towards space bases, space platforms, life extension. We can all live a lot longer. There'll be room for us in space. Let's go. Let's use our resources now with a real plan. Not having a bunch of pedophiles and scum running everything who just want to rape children all day, and carpet bomb cities. I mean, come on. Let's go to Alpha Centauris. Let's do it. But first, we got to go through the New World Order. Your call's coming up. Stay with us. I had tried everything. I'd cut back the amount of food I was eating. I was lifting weights and jogging, but nothing was working. My body was literally starving for minerals and trace elements as well as key vitamins. And as soon as I had that, I immediately could eat half of what I was eating previously and be satisfied. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com. We know exactly what you're doing. We're identifying your illegal government. Ken Clark, who's number 3 in the UK government, senior government minister, was summoned to Parliament. That's coming up. Bilderberg secrecy exposed during parliamentary debate, and he was reminded that it was illegal, and he said, oh, he'd forgotten about that. And it's all a big joke, and everyone laughs, but they had a 20-minute debate about it because they don't want the little slaves knowing that, foreign megabank leaders and world royalty come in and basically organize the economy as they see fit. I'm going to go to Obama supporters right now. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231. If you're an Obama supporter, after I go to these calls, we'll open the phones up for everybody else. But what do you make after I take these calls about Iceland saying they may want to try to give amnesty to Snowden, House Speaker calling him a traitor? Man, nothing's traitorous. Going after our guns, opening the borders, giving $85 billion to foreign banks, all of this. It's only traitorous to expose illegal NSA spying against everybody. If that's treason, then I guess I'm for treason. No, that's treason against the mafia and their capo regime that's taken over this country. And I mean the globalist corporate mafia. Unbelievable. Disclosure on NSA spying alarms lawmakers, tech companies, and it goes on to say the big tech companies are really, really worried right now about their credibility, reports the London Guardian. Big internet names are in battle to salvage reputations over NSA leaks. And they hope that they can just point out, oh, it's just FISA. FISA's a tiny part of it. Amazing. Amazing. Truly amazing. I've got a lot of other news I want to get to as well. But let's go ahead right now and go to your phone calls. Steve in Colorado, you say you're a big Obama supporter. Go ahead.
Yeah, hello.
Yep.
I'm not necessarily a big Obama supporter, but I am supportive of some of his policies like this one of the NSA and maybe even the drone program.
Okay, so you're listening on KHNC 1360 AM that goes into Denver, great affiliate out there, longtime affiliate out there. I should have mentioned that. And I guess the fake right wing's really supporting him because they love drones. And they love secret arrest, and they love spying on it. So you think this will keep the jihadis in check?
Well, like I told the screener, I got a little different twist on this. I'm one of the 56% that's in favor of it because I think it should be used or kept intact and used against them. Like get Rand Paul to head a commission to track all these phone calls like to Al Gore and from him and all the terrorists you're talking about. Okay, now I see where you're going. But
here's the issue with that. If you take their rights away, then we all lose our rights. And the Congress claims they don't even know how it works or who's doing it. And the NSA's been caught lying to Congress. They get in these big committee type deals under national security. And then everybody acts like they don't know what's happening as plausible to deniability. Nobody knows who robbed the bank, basically. It's buffers. This is all mafia techniques. And here's what I'm telling you, sir. It has come out that they are using the NSA. Remember when it came out they were using it against whistleblowers in the media, exposing Obama on corruption? They're using it on the Associated Press. They're using it on to just data grab everything and record everything and then put it into computers where these dozens of government agencies and over 100 contracting groups, 800,000 people in the U.S. alone, can just go in and listen to everything you're doing. Do you understand that this is a total takeover of our society? Do you see that?
Yeah, but why couldn't it be taken over by, like, Rand Paul and we the people, who's the real government, rather than they, the terrorists?
I hear you, sir, but I mean, here's an article by Leanne McAdoo that just went up on Infowars.com, and I appreciate your call, that says British police use anti-terror tactics to arrest protesters. The overkill of police presence threatens the legitimate right to protest, and they use anti-terror legislation on us to be able to suspend due process and things, and the police apologized about it, and it seemed to wake them up. But now, here's the London Guardian headline, anti-G8 protest headquartered in London, raided by riot police. And again, this is a great article by Leanne McAdoo, but I would go with the subheadline, anti-terror used to chill free speech, shut down protest. It's not overkill. It's designed to extinct protest. I mean, they've got Ministry of Defense report 2007 in Britain saying they wanted to do this to chill free speech because they knew society was being collapsed. But it's by design. It doesn't have to happen. Now, again, when I take these Obama supporter calls, I don't even know if they're serious or not. Let's talk to Matt in Pennsylvania. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, how's it going, Alex?
It's going all right, sir. Go ahead.
All right. I just want to point out some of the positive things that Obama has done. Here in Pennsylvania, for example, between the years of 2008 and 2010, we had over a 555% increase in natural gas production, which has brought a lot of jobs into our much-needed hurting economy.
That has nothing to do with Obama. He's trying to block that. So let me hold on. If you, let me ask you a question, because I hear this a lot. If you found 100 gold coins buried in your backyard from 1872 randomly, that happens all the time, and people find something buried by somebody that died, didn't tell folks where it was at, would you attribute that to Obama? Would you attribute a sunny day to Obama?
No.
Okay, well, keep telling me everything Obama's doing.
Okay, well, for example, in Pennsylvania, again, we're going to have over 2 million women who will gain access to birth control without copay.
Well, yeah, the only thing free you're going to get or cheaper in that is abortion and eugenics. Absolutely, that's what it's all about.
Have you ever been
and underage access? And underage access. Absolutely. The state taking over the kids. That is something Obama has done for you. And they're increasing partial birth abortion funding to twist little babies' heads off everywhere outside the womb. So, yes, you're actually right.
Do you agree with the statement that there are people out there who shouldn't have their children?
The problem is they will use that precedent to say, I can't have my children. The state wants the healthy, happy kids.
Well, who doesn't want happy, healthy kids?
Sir, let me ask you a question. Do you understand this government has declassified over 2,000 programs, some of which had tens of thousands of people in them apiece, where they were killing U.S. troops and killing black people and killing poor people and releasing bioweapons on the Appalachians? Do you understand this government is run by psychotic killers?
How long ago was that?
It's ongoing. Project Shad was declassified in the 80s. It was ongoing, but it's a unified program, sir. You understand there's a shadow government run by mega banks who are eugenicists.
Does that include the David Icke reptilians?
Well, I don't believe in that.
Shapeshifters.
But that's a good subject. That's a good subject to change off into. Let me ask you a question, sir. What do you think of NSA illegal spying on people? It is illegal. That's admitted. What do you think about it?
I think it's good to an extent. For certain people that need to be watched.
So you think you're going to be safe by groveling to this system?
Let me ask you this. People are all up in arms about it, but then you have millions and millions of people on Facebook posting family pictures, posting everything else for everyone to see. Well,
the globalists said 20 years ago that they were going to come out with a system where the young people opted in. They said that we're going to get them to accept all this under status, under social interaction, and they rolled out and
But
deployed.
Isn't it the free choice of the people to go on Facebook and do this?
Yes, and it's my free choice to point out that they lied to them and said they weren't sharing that info. Do you understand? They're giving it to the government despite denials. They lied to people, but you don't want to admit that we're in trouble, so you'll do anything to make excuses about it. You're not going to respond to that. Sir, let me ask you a question. Do you think I'm making it up that the U.S. forces, they went from 9% of world opium production to 93% in the last 10 years, and our troops bring in the fertilizer and guard the opium and then make sure it's shipped to market worldwide out of the major cities and transportation hubs of Afghanistan? Because that's admitted. A, are you saying I'm lying? B, are you saying that it's a good thing?
I'm going to go with C. I don't believe that the war on drugs is constitutional.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, do you understand? They made it illegal so they can control the black market.
I understand. Yeah, I understand things are illegal, so they have control over, the whole market, so to speak.
But you still trust these people that ship smack in and then let them stand on the street corners selling it 1 mile from where I'm at. I can go show people selling smack in front of the police from Afghanistan, running it right in your daughter's veins. But this is a good government, though. We can really trust these people.
So you believe the people have the freedom to put whatever they want into their own bodies?
What they don't have is the freedom of the CIA to go kill drug dealers all over this country that are entrepreneurs and ship it in and run their gauntlet. I don't like those drug dealers, but by making it illegal, they give that type of scum a market. But the small percentage of drugs that are brought in by the cowboys, at least the cowboys are having to work. At least they don't sit up there and say they're not the drug dealers. The government is run by big banks that launder the drug money and get caught publicly and even run the drug aircraft. Do you feel safe living in a country like that, where it's an open secret? Okay, will you type into a search engine DynCorp Halliburton sex slavery?
DynCorp Halliburton sex slavery?
Yeah, I mean, you'll read Chicago Tribune, you name it. I mean, do you understand, sir, how brutal this is? Do you understand that few other governments in modern history have been this evil? This government is as evil as Satan himself, sir. This government is so evil it will make your head spin, okay?
And that's how Obama's trying to change that.
Oh, my, you do not believe this. I mean, you're not really saying that. Obama is light-yearing this stuff. He is turbocharging it. It has moved into warp speed under him. I appreciate your call. Oh, God, what did I say? I'd take these people's calls. Let's go to another one. Let's talk to Frank in New York. That was a real Obama supporter you just heard, folks. Frank, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, how you doing, Alex?
I'm not doing good, man. I just fight the instinct to get out of here as fast as possible and move to some forgotten place somewhere. I just cannot handle it anymore. Go ahead.
Yeah, listen, I'm not a big Obama supporter, but listen, it's the 21st century, and of course, these people are going to use their capabilities to the fullest and spy on us. You know what I mean?
Oh, God. I don't understand the Stockholm Syndrome where people just say, well, that's just the way it is. It's a felony. Congress has always acted like they didn't know that it was going on. Congress voted for all this. They're all complicit. Rand Paul's saying arrest whoever did this. God bless him. Listen, they're using it against the Tea Party. They're using it against the pro-lifers. They're using it against the press.
I'm not surprised. Are you surprised?
The point is, I knew. I exposed it. I've been covering this for 17 years, since I had telecommunications people. That's my problem, is I don't ever even realize we had a Defense Department whistleblower on last year who gave us all his documents, his proof, everything. A senior federal officer. He came on. He called in. I said, I want your proof. He gave it to us. He came on. He's not even in our database now. I'm trying to remember who he was last year. That's how overworked I am to get him back on now that all this came out. And then it was as big as the story is right now, but they never covered it. That's what I mean. And people think if they say, are you surprised? Okay, are you upset they're putting cancer viruses in your vaccines?
Yeah, I didn't know about that, but if that's true, yeah, it would be a...
Yeah, you better look into it, bud. They want to murder you and your family. Do you think that's something you might want to get a little bit upset about? Or is it like, because, you know, that's all coming out now, and they're going to say, are you surprised? Well, I guess there are too many people. Maybe, well, Congress is making it official. They'll now give you a shot to kill you. I mean, you know, what does it take, folks? What does it take to get out of this normalcy bias? So you think Obama's a lesser of two evils?
I didn't vote for Obama.
All right, I appreciate your call, Frank. I don't know what you're talking about. We're taking calls from Obama supporters. Rob in Michigan, you're on the air. Go ahead, Rob.
Hey, Alex. I'm just calling in. I voted twice for the president in 08. I was very enchanted by his campaign promises, and I really thought that this was going to be a change. So I was very, very much for it the first time around. The second term, I was a little bit getting less enchanted, and I felt he was the lesser of two evils. But over the last 6 months, you know, since I've been listening to your show, you know, I've been more critical of what comes out in the media and doing my own research, and I really feel that there's something nefarious going on with our government, and it's trickled.
Well, there's nothing. I mean, it's well known. They are ending the free market economy, planning the controlled implosion, and making us all poor, and taking all the middle class's money to give it to offshore banks that are tax exempt and above the law to radically transform everything forever, so you're on government welfare so they can control your life. I mean, that's called Agenda 21. That's the plan.
And you're right. And now, because I've been, you know, doing more research and becoming more unplugged, I'm trying to tell other people. But there's a brick wall that I run into because, especially in my community, people think he can do no wrong. And, you know, even though there's no substantial proof of anything, you know, are you better off than you were 4 years ago?
Well, no, really. They associate their personal power with him, and with reflected glory of a puppet, feel like, again, it's just recognizing he's a puppet globalist and being used to push an agenda. You stall him, you stall the whole agenda. Instead, now the Republicans are trying to prop him up, going, it's good to spy on you. It's disgusting. It's everything
and you're right, because I couldn't believe when I looked on online this morning that what Boehner was saying, you know, calling that guy a terrorist. I don't see how he's a terrorist when he's trying to alert the American people.
It's illegal. They could all go to jail for it. Peter King's been involved in these national security votes. He's involved. If anybody should go to jail, it's the people involved in this. It's Petraeus, you know, to Wired Magazine. Oh, your appliances watch and listen to you. I mean, when we come back, we're going to talk about trolling the NSA straight ahead. Our viewers have demanded it, so now you're gonna get it. More pro-Second Amendment gun shows in the month of June.
What we've learned is you cannot hide behind an I-beam when there's a 50 cal present.
Brothers in Arms, 50 cal ammo review, and more. Coming in the month of June to the InfoWar.